So the 5 biggest mistakes that companies make is, one is a lack of sourcing and marketing strategy. It used to be that Indeed didn't work, so let's try Career Builder, probably the other way around. We used to try Monster, then it was Career Builder, and now it's Indeed. How about ZipRecruiter? Those are just throwing darts against the wall, hoping something sticks. Recruiting is marketing, and I'll talk about that in a second. The expectation that you can hire just in time, that there is an opening, and we're going to have it filled by the end of the month, has got to go out. If you find somebody within a month these days, you are just lucky. You just take advantage of it, relish the moment, celebrate. It's not going to happen often. Poor employment branding, I'm going to go into the more details of that, a bad candidate experience. You are living in a buyer's market, not a seller's market when it comes to jobs. Despite the fact, and it's not only that people are picky, some people aren't qualified and they still want to be picky. The reality is that the world of Amazon changed everything. The fact that I can go up, order something by pulling out my phone, and immediately, if I have questions, I get a response. I know when it's going to be delivered, step by step through the process. That's the expectations job seekers have. Blame Amazon and Apple and apps and social media for some of this change. And the final thing that we'll talk about today as far as a fix is you got to stop running this by gut. There is no evidence. Most companies have no evidence for their hiring practices or their recruiting practices. They're not sure why something works. It did, and then it stops, and then you try something new. And ultimately, the companies that are winning in the market are doing what we call people analytics. They're tracking everything just like you track purchasing. You track logistics. You track finance. You can anticipate. You build a budget, and you don't sit and wait and see what happens. You play it out, except in HR. Except when it comes to recruiting. Anywhere from sourcing to who the person you hired, what really made them successful? Did they happen to be just in the right place at the right time? How many people here have ever hired somebody who had 10 or 15 years of background and came highly recommended and flopped in your business? Why? Because some of them just happened to be in the right place at the right time, or it was a different culture, it was a different time, it's a different environment. As I said, we live in this VUCA environment. Very few of us have ever lived through an environment like that. So whatever skills somebody brings to the table are a little different than what they have now. So the first step of recruiting is identifying who you want to have. We're not going to spend a lot of time on that, but there are some pretty simple processes. And one of the tools that we work with companies on pre-employment testing and leadership testing. We actually test people ahead of time, not to find out who that ideal profile was, but understanding that was the profile that worked. And then my question is, will that profile work in the future? So sometimes it's finding that the people you have aren't the people that are going to get you going there. We're not using it from a pre-hire assessment. We're just using it from a baseline. It's like going in and having an x-ray when you're 40. Sometimes the detection isn't going to be that they're going to find something. It's going to be that they have a baseline, what it's supposed to be when it changes.